The screams of animals being crushed under trees as the rest of the animals scatter trying to run away from the falling trees. The Morse code habitat that once towered over their homes is now exposed to the hot sun's rays beating on the floor, drying up the splintering branches and the tree trunks left in the wake of the destruction. Every forest has a tremendous amount of life that thrives from the trees that provide shelter, food, and a home for them to live in. Deforestation is the act of cutting down a large area of trees from forests, which is happening all over the world. In order to save the world's forests, there must be a large reduction of cutting down trees and a reduction of the amount of wood being cut from the forest. Deforestation increases the amount of carbon dioxide in the air, causing climate change. As people breathe out carbon dioxide, trees intake carbon dioxide and turn into breathable air. The carbon dioxide is stored inside the tree to allow the tree to grow. Cutting down a few trees is not a problem, but when 17 million acres are cut down a year and the amount of trees being taken from the forest causes a substantial amount of carbon dioxide to enter into the Earth's atmosphere, that will increase global warming issues. Deforestation is responsible for a staggering 10% of all global warming emissions. Of course, there will be trees need to be cut down, and the amount of trees being cut down in forests needs to be reduced dramatically for deforestation to not be a factor in global warming. To subside the amount of carbon dioxide being released, trees need to stop being cut down in such a large scale, avoiding causing problems. Deforestation does not just have one problem that needs to be addressed. It has several problems that need to be solved for deforestation to subside. Agriculture is part of the problem. Farmers would cut down trees in the thick of the forest where wildlife is vibrant. The farmers would then proceed to planting their cash crops. There is a large amount of production in agriculture that is in the tropical forest, but the production that is the most grown is soybeans and oil palm. So, soy and palm oil are widely traded products that have a large amount of money attached to them due to the ever-increasing list of products. The agriculture growth of products is due to overpopulation. The movement of trees aside for plants is needed for the large amount of people in the world that demand a product. Of course, the growth of people will lead to more produce being to be put out and a need for more land to supply those people. But instead of cutting down trees inside the forest, cut down trees in the forest edges so the least amount of damage can occur in the forest. Meat is consumed all over the world, while tropical forests are being consumed by cattle ranching. Cattle ranching is raising cattle to be killed, taken apart, and sold as food on the market. Cattle ranching has taken 70% of the Amazon in the last 50 years for cattle to graze on for the meat. Cattle ranching is accounted for 80% of current deforestation rates in the rainforest. Cattle ranching is not a bad thing, but the scale of where they are producing cattle is a problem, and it is causing forests to decrease drastically. This will cause great problems for the forest. Cattle ranching has caused the forest to an extreme loss of trees from the cattle to graze the ground without the care what will happen. The demand for cattle is high as it is as common for eating in many places in the world. Overpopulation has contributed to the amount of meat being produced. The countries that the forests reside need to make it so that cattle ranching should be given a certain amount of land that is not substantial, but neither too small that leads the cattle farmer to do illegal things. Logging in the forest is common due to the production of wood material it produces. Logging in the forest has rules that regulate the production of logging and the trade of timber production at all stages. Breaking the law on illegal logging can mean from harvesting trees in the wrong area, taking too many trees, or harvesting species that are protected. Illegal logging affects some of the most famous forests that have native species that have been victims of illegal logging, causing a substantial amount of them to die in the process. Illegal logging does not just affect the forest, it also affects the prices of wood worldwide for the companies that obey the regulations of the law. While criminal businesses is estimated to be 10 billion to 15 billion. The poor people that live near the forest are often taken advantage of, and their human rights are often breached. Illegal logging is a horrendous thing that often affects the forest, animals, and other poor people that live near the forest. An organization that goes by the name of World Wildlife Fund has put in place a harsher policy and trade agreements with other countries to not support or to let them sell their wood to further try to stop illegal logging to benefit from the lives of the trees. Without rainforests, the world will be a drastically different place. Countries need to become more strict in their policies on the forests and make it so that deforestation does not happen on the scale it has occurred. In the end, the trees that were once there will not be the same ones that were, but other trees can be planted so the trees could grow anew, so that the dwindling amount of trees left in the rainforest do not disappear from the world.